when time itself has spoken every word, and all creation breathes its final phrase. You gather up the work.
The God Who Finishes. Gratitude. Devotional Series. Episode 12. Movement 3. Overview. This song has shown us two faces of God's sovereignty over our lives, and now it turns to the third and final one. In the first movement, we met the God who began us, who loved and chose and formed us before we ever drew breath. In the second, the God who governs us, who holds the worlds and orders every step and draws the wandering heart to rest, now, today. And now the song lifts its eyes all the way to the end of everything, and finds there the same God wearing his last face, the God who finishes. The one who began the work and runs the work is also the one who completes it. He is the finisher. We need this more than we know, because we live haunted by a quiet dread of things left unfinished. The world is littered with them: the abandoned project, the half-built house, the story that simply stops, the friendship that trails off, the dream that ran out of road. We know in our bones how many things get started and never completed. And the dread reaches its sharpest point when we turn it on ourselves. What if my life is one of the unfinished ones? What if my faith does not last? What if I cannot hold on? If somewhere down the road I drift, or fail, or simply run out of whatever it takes, and turn out to be a good work that got abandoned partway through, begun, and then left. Anyone who has watched their own resolve crumble before, who knows how unreliable their own heart can be, has felt the cold edge of that fear. If staying with God depends on my strength to keep gripping Him, then the outcome is genuinely in doubt, because my grip is weak. To that fear, this movement speaks one of the most steadying words in all of Scripture. God finishes what He starts. He is not like us. He does not lose interest, run out of resources, or walk away from a job half done. The same apostle who told us our calling reaches back before time told us, just as confidently, that it reaches forward past the end. And I am sure of this, that He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1:6. Look closely at who does the finishing in that sentence. Not you, He. The one who began the good work is the one who completes it, which means your completion was never resting on your grip, your consistency, or your strength to hold on. It rests on His commitment to finish what He started. You are not a project He might abandon. You are a work He has promised to complete. And it is not only your small life He is bringing to completion. The song lifts higher than that, all the way to the end of all things. When time itself has spoken its last word, when all creation breathes its final phrase, He will gather up the whole of it. And notice what kind of ending this is. The end of the world, in this song, is not a winding down, not a candle guttering out, not the universe quietly running out of fuel. It is a consummation, a bringing of all things to fullness. God has a plan, Paul says, for the fullness of time, to unite all things in Him, things in heaven and things on earth. Ephesians 1:10. All of history is moving toward a gathering up, a summing up, a completion under Christ. And the one on the throne says of that moment two of the most beautiful words ever spoken. It is done. And then, behold, I am making all things new. Revelation 21:5. Not making all new things, making all things new. The same creation, the same story, brought at last to the fullness it was always meant for. Even the created world itself is leaning toward that day. Paul says the whole creation has been groaning, like a woman in labor, waiting, that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to corruption and obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. Romans 8:21. The groaning is not the sound of something dying. It is the sound of something being born. The end is not the world breaking down. It is the world finally breaking through into what it was always straining toward. And here is why none of this is wishful thinking. The end is not in doubt, because the same God who began it has already seen it and decreed it. I declare the end from the beginning, he says, and from ancient times, things not yet done. My counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purpose. Isaiah 46:10. The end was settled in the same breath as the beginning. No life unfolds beyond the end he has already seen. No purpose of his ever falls to the ground. The ending of your story is as certain as its beginning, because the same hand holds both, and that hand does not fail. And I should say plainly, so the wonder does not curdle into a false comfort. When the song says he brings all things to their end and to fullness, it does not mean every road arrives at the same place. The consummation is the triumph of God's whole will. Everything finally set right and put in its true place under Christ, the good completed and the wrong dealt with at last. But for the one who belongs to him, that triumph is nothing but homecoming. And do you see what all of this does to the fear we started with? The God who is going to finish the whole of history, who will bring the entire cosmos to its appointed fullness without dropping a single thread, is the very same God who has promised to finish you. The vast completion is the guarantee of the small one. If he will complete the universe, he will surely complete the good work in your one small soul. You will not be the loose end of the new creation, the one thing the finisher of worlds somehow forgot. The hand that finishes galaxies has taken personal responsibility for finishing you. And this is the direct answer to the fear we began with. Your perseverance does not finally rest on the strength of your grip on him, which is exactly why you can stop being terrified that you will let go. It rests on the strength of his grip on you, and that good work he started, he intends to carry all the way through to the day of Christ, through every failure and every faltering in between. He is making you like his son, and he will not quit the project halfway. And at the end of it all stands the goal the whole thing was moving toward. The dwelling place of God is with man. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Revelation 21:3-4. That is where you are headed, not to an ending, to a completion. So if the first movement gave us gratitude, and the second gave us rest, the third gives us hope. And not the thin hope of wishing, but the solid hope of certainty, because it rests on the decree of the God who finishes. The grateful heart can look straight at the end of all things, its own death included, and not be afraid. Because the end, for those who are his, is not where the love finally runs out. It is where the love finally arrives. That is the concept this last movement will turn slowly in the light, the God who finishes. The one who began you and governs you will also complete you, and complete everything. And the end he is bringing is not loss but fullness, not a trailing off, but a triumph. Nothing he starts is ever abandoned, including you, especially you.